morning, students. Let's start with the further discussion of the chapter Acids, Bases and Salts. In our previous class, we have started with the topic base. In that, we have done its definition, classification and preparation. In today's class, we are going to cover physical properties of bases, chemical properties of bases and uses of bases. Let's start with the first topic, that is physical properties of bases. Bases have a sharp and bitter taste. The second one is that they change the color of indicators. The first one, let us consider litmus paper. So when we have red litmus paper, when we dip red litmus paper into a base, it turns it blue. The second one is phenolphthalein. When we add phenolphthalein to a base, it turns pink. The third one is methyl orange. When methyl orange is added to a base, it turns it yellow. So we should remember these color changes when an indicator is added to base. But we should remember that insoluble bases do not affect indicators. The bases that are not soluble in water. We should also know that bases are soapy substances, that is, they are slippery to touch. They are strong electrolytes. That means they can conduct electricity. When these substances when we dissolve them in water, they will form ions, and these ions will be able to conduct electricity. The last one is that they show a mild corrosive action. That means slight burns on the skin if they are dropped on our skin. Let's start with our next topic, that is chemical properties of bases. First one is action of strong alkalis like NaOH or KOH, sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, on CO2, that is carbon dioxide. So when strong alkalis reacts with carbon dioxide, carbonates are formed along with water molecule. Supposing the strong alkali is NaOH, it reacts with CO2, we will get Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate, and water. The formula which is formed, it is according to its valency. Sodium has valency +1 and carbonate has valency -1. Similar is the case with potassium hydroxide. The second one is action of acids on bases. So if we have a base and we react it with acid, it will form salt and water. And we should know that such type of reactions are known as neutralization reaction. So what is a neutralization reaction? It is a reaction in which acid reacts with a base to form salt and water only. So for example, let us take calcium hydroxide. We can also take sodium hydroxide. So we need to take any base and we need to react it with acid, and what we will get is calcium chloride and water. The metallic part will come from the base and the anion part will come from the acid. Remember this. The next one is action of alkali on metallic salts. So let us consider the first reaction, that is, if we have a metallic salt like copper sulfate. What do you mean by metallic salt? Salt in which metal is present? So copper sulfate, when reacts with base or an alkali like ammonium hydroxide. So when the reaction completes, we get ammonium sulfate and copper hydroxide as a precipitate. Downward arrow signifies that it is a precipitate and it is pale blue in color. What do you mean by precipitate? It is actually insoluble solid that is formed during the chemical reaction. So this is particularly a double decomposition reaction. Copper goes with OH, that is the negative part of the base, and the negative part of the salt will go with the positive part of the base. So it will form ammonium sulfate and copper hydroxide. Similar is with zinc sulfate and NaOH if we use. So we will get a PPT of ZnOH whole twice. It will be white in color. If we take the next one, that is FeSO4, when it reacts with NaOH, it will form Na2SO4, but the precipitate will be FeOH whole twice. It will be dirty green in color. And the last one, when the Fe is having +3 valency, the precipitate formed will be reddish brown in color. So remember the colors of the precipitate and also their reaction. The next one is action of alkali on ammonium salts. So if we have any ammonium salt like ammonium chloride, when it reacts with alkali, it will form its corresponding salt, that is NaCl. So this Na of base will go with Cl of the ammonium salt. Water and ammonia gas will be liberated, and ammonia has a pungent smell, okay, and it will also turn Nessler's reagent brown. What happened here is, as you know that basically what should form? Ammonium hydroxide should form, but it is very unstable, so it will break down into ammonia and water. So therefore these reactions go in such a way. So remember, whenever you have, what was left here? Ammonia and ammonium ion and OH, hydroxide ion, but they together will form ammonium hydroxide, but it is unstable, so it will break down into ammonia gas and water molecule. Similarly, in this case also, ammonium sulfate plus 2 KOH, that is potassium hydroxide, potassium sulfate will be formed. What is left? Ammonia as a cation and OH as an anion. They both should form ammonium hydroxide, but as it is unstable, it will break down and it will form water and ammonia. So every time when you are getting ammonium hydroxide as a product, you won't write ammonium hydroxide, but you will split it and you will write it as water and ammonia gas. Now let's discuss uses of bases. The first one is sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is used in manufacture of soap. Next one is potassium hydroxide. So manufacture of salts also and soaps, and it is used in batteries as well. The third one is calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is used for manufacturing of bleaching powder and softening of hard water. Magnesium hydroxide is used as an antacid. Aluminium hydroxide is used as a foaming agent in fire extinguishers. So if you want to extinguish fire, the foaming agent uses aluminium hydroxide. Next one is ammonium hydroxide. If you want to remove grease stains from the cloth, so you can put ammonium hydroxide and the grease stains will be removed. Magnesia is the next, that is MgO. So the use of MgO is that it is used in making of refractory bricks, that the bricks which are used in furnace and all that. Calcium oxide, it is used as a drying agent or as a basic flux. So when you have some gases, if you are preparing gases, for the drying of that gases, you can use calcium oxide, and it is a very good drying agent. Now some of the questions are flashing on your screen. You can do these questions on the basis of today's lecture. Thank you so much.